Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 3. Excuse me. Chapter 3, verse 15, I think, today.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
You want to put it up?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay. Chapter, all right, here we are. Savai Bhagavato Raja Pāṇḍaveyo Mahārataha Bala Kridana Kridan Krishna Kridam Ya Adade. Savai Bhagavato Raja Pāṇḍaveyo Mahārataha Bala Kridana Kridan Krishna Kridam Ya Adade. Word for word. Saha, he. Vai, certainly. Bhagavata, a great devotee of the Lord. Raja, Mahārāja Parīkṣit. Pāṇḍavaya, grandson of the Pāṇḍavas. Mahārātha, a great fighter. Bala, while a child. Kridanakayi, with play dolls. Kridan, playing. Krishna, Lord Krishna. Kridam, activities. Ya, who. Adade, accepted. Translation. Mahārāja Parīkṣit, the grandson of the Pāṇḍavas, was from his very childhood a great devotee of the Lord. Even while playing with dolls, he used to worship Lord Krishna by imitating the worship of the family deity. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In the Bhagavad-gītā, chapter 6, verse 41, it is stated that even a person who has failed in the proper discharge of yoga practice is given a chance to take birth in the house of devout Brahmins, or in the house of rich men like Kshatriya kings or rich merchants. But Mahārāja Parīkṣit was more than that, because he had been a great devotee of the Lord since his previous birth, and as such he took his birth in an imperial family of the Kurus, and especially that of the Pāṇḍavas. So from the very beginning of his childhood, he had the chance to know intimately the devotional service of Lord Krishna in his own family. The Pāṇḍavas, all being devotees of the Lord, certainly venerated family deities in the royal palace for worship. Children who appear in such families, fortunately, generally imitate such worship of the deities, even in the way of childhood play. By the grace of Lord Krishna, we had the chance of being born in a Vaishnava family. And in our childhood, we imitated the worship of Lord Krishna by imitating our father. Our father encouraged us in all respects to observe all functions, such as the Ratha Yatra and Dola Yatra ceremonies. And he used to spend money liberally for distributing prasadam to us children and our friends. Our spiritual master, who also took his birth in a Vaishnava family, got all inspiration from his great Vaishnava father, Thakur Bhaktivinoda. That is the way of all lucky Vaishnava families. The celebrated Mirabai was a staunch devotee of Lord Krishna as the great lifter of Govardhan Hill. The life history of many such devotees is almost the same because there is always symmetry between. I'm sorry, somebody's talking. Um, like, the life history of many such devotees is almost the same because there's always symmetry between the early lives of all great devotees of the Lord. According to Jiva Goswami, Parīkṣit Mahārāja must have heard about the childhood pastimes of Lord Krishna at Vrindavan, for he used to imitate the pastimes with his young playmates. According to Sridhar Swami, Mahārāja Parīkṣit used to imitate the worship of the family deity by elder members. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti also confirms the viewpoint of Jiva Goswami. So accepting either of them, Mahārāja Parīkṣit was naturally inclined to Lord Krishna from his very childhood. He might have imitated either the above-mentioned activities, and all of them establish his great devotion from his early childhood, a symptom of a maha-bhāgavata. Such maha-bhāgavats are called nitya-siddhas, or souls liberated from birth. But there are also others who may not be liberated from birth, but who develop a tendency for devotional service by association, and they are called sadhana siddhis. There is no difference between the two in the ultimate issue, and so the conclusion is that everyone can become a sadhana siddhi, a devotee of the Lord, a sadhana siddha, a devotee of the Lord, simply by association with the pure devotees. The concrete example is our great spiritual master, Sri Narad Muni. In his previous life, he was simply a boy of a maidservant, but through association with great devotees, he became a devotee of the Lord of his own standard, unique in the history of devotional service. Umakyanatimirandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Jatkripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinataranam. Namaum Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschachade Shatarine Vanchakopa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Very important point to glean from this for us is, there are two main points. One is that, as Krishna explains to Arjuna in verse number 40 of chapter 2 of Bhagavad-gītā, Neha Vikramana Shulsti Pratyavayo na vidyate swapam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution. And even the smallest endeavor, the smallest amount of engagement will save one from the most dangerous type of fear. Krishna says this in apropos of what he's just explained to Arjuna before, that he's now going to tell him how actually through the practice of yoga, which Prabhupada translates as free from fruitive entanglement. He's going to now explain to him how this can be done. And he makes this statement right at the beginning, and it underpins everything from there on, that there's no loss or diminution in this endeavor. And that is being elaborated on at the end of the 6th chapter, where Arjuna asks, well, what happens to somebody who doesn't complete the course? What happens to such a person? Are they, do they have a place in the material world or the spiritual world, or they don't have a place in either? Or what is their situation? The point being that in this endeavor, there is no failure. There may be failure in the sense that I didn't reach the goal in the last lifetime. But that doesn't mean I don't get another chance. In fact, Krishna keeps giving us chance after chance after chance, so long as we sincerely and seriously keep trying. To become disentangled from our attachment to the material world is a very difficult thing, because we've been in the material world since time immemorial, pursuing material desires. And we're bewildered by this. Bhogashvarya prashaktanam tayaparita chetasam vyavisa yatmika buddhi samadhauna vidiyate. For those who are too much attached to sense gratification and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the firm determination for devotional service does not take place in the minds of such people. So we've been on the slippery slope of material sense gratification, pursuing material opulence and so many things overcome by lust and greed since time immemorial. In the purport to Canto 1, Chapter 2, verse 17, Srila Prabhupada explains that one can't actually go back to the spiritual world until he's completely free from the results of all his sinful activities. And he explains there that the two primary attractions in the material world for all conditioned souls are women and money. And he's always at pains, not there, but in other places, to explain that for men, women are the attraction. For women, men are the attraction. So for men, women are the women, and for women, men are the women. The attraction is to ultimately to women, though, because even women are attracted to other women. They so many surveys explain that women dress to impress other women, and they always have to be original in that regard. Anyway, we won't go into all of that because it becomes a tricky issue, because we're still all in the bodily concept of life. But women and money, the attractions of the material world. And Srila Prabhupada explains that it takes time to get over, to recover from the foreign nature. This is a foreign nature. It's not our constitutional position to be in the material world pursuing these things. So in the practice of yoga, these material attractions, these material conditionings, attachments are always there. We're trying to practice devotional service within the material world, within, as Prabhupada says, within the jurisdiction of matter. So in many ways, it's like trying to light a fire in the middle of the ocean. But it is possible by proper practice over maybe many lifetimes. One should not discount that. But the beauty of this process is that one may not have yet succeeded, and as a result of one's endeavors in this lifetime or the last lifetime, we didn't reach the goal. But Krishna protects us. Krishna protects us. This point of protection is very important. It's an integral part of our understanding of what it means to surrender to Krishna. Cetasa sarvakamani mai sanyasya matpara buddhi yogam upasricha matchita satatam bhava. Take very careful note of the translation. In all activities, just depend upon me and work under my protection. In such devotional service, become fully conscious of me. Protection of the Lord, protection by the Lord, is an integral part of devotional service. Two key factors. In all activities, just depend upon me and work under my protection. The protection of the Lord is there always for the devotee, every devotee, not just the maha-bhagavata devotees of the Lord. Krishna is actually equal to all devotees in this regard. His protection is there for everyone. Very important thing to understand, because the whole process that Krishna is describing to Arjuna, and which Srila Prabhupada is discussing in relationship to how Mahārāja Parīkṣit took birth in the Pāṇḍava family, was based upon this, that there's protection at every step. One simply has to be a sincere and serious person, no matter how degraded a background one may come from, no matter how entangled in sinful activities one may be. The protection of the Lord is immediately there for one who surrenders. And Krishna is just looking at that. Are you in your heart a surrendered soul? Of course, you can say, oh yes, I'm a surrendered soul, but at the same time, doing nothing about that. In the story of, I think I mentioned this a few classes ago, in the story of Bali Mahārāja, he is, Prabhupada uses the phrase Bhāvagrāhī Janārdana, meaning that Janārdana, who lives in the heart. Bhavagrāhī, he takes notice only of what is in the core of the heart. And this is all very pertinent to this chapter, because the chapter is called Pure Devotional Service, the Change in the Heart. There has to be a qualitative and fundamental shift in the heart. And that means we surrender. My dear Lord, from this day forth, I'm yours. Now, that doesn't mean it's not like abracadabra, all of your sinful reactions just vanish. All of your attachments to material things just vanish. They fade away over time. But unless there is a fundamental change in the heart, they don't. They won't. Because Srila Prabhupada explains to Srila Rupa Goswami, Lord Chaitanya explains to Srila Rupa Goswami that the chanting of the holy name is watering the creeper of devotion within the heart. The seed of the creeper of devotion is all of the practices and rules and regulations that we follow in the practice of devotional service, and the fundamental activity of hearing and chanting, especially the chanting of the holy name. Waters that seed, but it also waters the ground of the heart in which seeds for the results of fruitive activities or mental speculation are still there. So those things have to be pulled out as time goes by. And if we don't pull them out, then they'll affect the way we think. And as Krishna explains, whatever you think of at the time of death, that state you will attain without doubt. So there's always danger of going off the path. Having said that, Krishna takes note of what's in the heart of the devotee. And even though there may be flaws, there may be incompleteness and imperfections, he actually doesn't take any notice of that. He makes arrangements that very soon what is actually within the heart of the devotee becomes manifest, fully manifest. Bhavagrāhī Janārdana. There's no scriptural reference for that verse. If you look in Srila Prabhupada, the Shlokas book, when you come to that, it says there's no reference. But Srila Prabhupada uses it on several important occasions. One very primary one is this one in regard to Bali Mahārāja, because the idea of being bound up in the material world is illustrated by literally how he was bound up after everything was taken away from him. He was bound up by the snakes of Vasuki. And he could only see the lotus feet of the Lord who'd gone and sat on the throne of Indra. And from within the core of his heart, he offered his prostrated obeisances. So the process begins with this surrender. Surrender is a very powerful word, very powerful word. We see Arjuna surrenders to Krishna in his ignorance, in his confusion, in his puzzlement, that's perplexity, bewilderment at the beginning of the Bhagavad-gītā. And then he surrenders to Krishna in knowledge. So that's one form of surrender. If you want to learn something, you have to surrender to the teacher and come out of your ignorance. Then there's the idea of surrender in war. And when there's a war, ultimately it comes down to one party or the other has to unconditionally surrender or become annihilated. That's another form of surrender. But the surrender that Krishna is talking about is love. Surrender in love. That is actually the highest form of surrender for the living entity, to surrender in love. Bhagavad-gītā is actually a love song. It's a song about how to regain one's lost loving relationship with the Supreme Lord. Bhaktya mama vijanati javan jasmi tatvata tatom mam tatvato gyatva vishate tad anantara. Bhakti. The fruit of bhakti, the full fruit of bhakti may take us many lifetimes to achieve, or it can happen in one lifetime very quickly. Ultimately, this depends upon the mercy of the Lord. There's a very powerful verse in this regard in the Canto Upanishad. I'll just get that up and we can read that. Nayamatma pravachanena labhyo na medaya na bahuna shutena yam evaisha vrinute tena labhyas tasyaisha atma vivrinute tanum swam. The Supreme Lord is not attained by expert explanations, by vast intelligence, nor even by much hearing. He is attained only by one who he himself chooses. To such a person, he manifests his own form. We're such fortunate people. We've been chosen by the Lord. He's manifested himself to us. Actually, the Maha Mantra is the sound incarnation of Lord. It's not different from the form of the Lord. And of course, the Lord's also manifesting himself in the deity form. And somehow or another, he's chosen us to have the opportunity to finish this job, whether we start in this lifetime or whether we're picking up from a previous lifetime. We can finish the job in this lifetime. But even then, we have to bear in mind that the Supreme Lord is supremely independent. We can't become arrogant and conceited, thinking, "Oh yes, I'm a great preacher. I know so much about the Shastra. I can repeat so many facts and figures. I've been hearing the Bhagavatam for 50 years now." All of that is very good, but the danger is that we become proud and conceited about that. It's very important in the 13th chapter, verses 8 to 12, where Krishna outlines what he considers to be knowledge. And the first two things are humility and pridelessness. One cannot be humble about one's pride, and one cannot be proud about one's humility. You cannot have the two things in the one space. One either is humble or proud. And pride is the great danger to every devotee on this path. We can become proud of our so-called accomplishments in devotional service. But the word used here is attained. Attainment is different than accomplishment. Accomplishment and achievements are to do with things in the external world. But attainment is about getting in touch with something in the heart. So Krishna allows us to get very deeply in touch with him, if we develop a mood of humility, of genuine humility. Trinadapi Sunichina. This enables us to become fully immersed in Krishna consciousness. No matter what the past was, no matter what the past was. We're nearly up to the time. Just 1 minute. Any quick questions or reflections? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for a beautiful class. I have a quick question. You spoke about surrender in this class. I was wondering, what does surrender look like in the life of a Gṛhastha with children, still working a little bit in the material world? What does surrender look like for those devotees?
For any devotee. Don't worry about your ashram or whatever. I have a new motto. Never give up, always show up. Simple. And also, you make your home a temple and an ashram. Krishna becomes the center. We're all engaged one way or another in the struggle for existence in this material world, and the age we live in is complicated and getting more and more complicated. But we put Krishna in the center. We put Krishna in the center. Srila Prabhupada was very bold in that regard. He just installed the deity. I think actually the Sydney temple is a very good example of this. He arrived with Radha Gopinath. There weren't any initiated Brahmins in the temple. He installed the deity. He gave second initiation to all the first initiates, and all the people who were to take first initiation, they were given second as well. And then he said when he was leaving, I don't know why you've come to this land of the Malechas, but here you are. I'm leaving you in the hands of these boys and girls. And off he went. And they just dedicated themselves as best they could. So don't ever become discouraged that, oh, I'm not on this standard, and I'm not on that standard. Just do the best you can where you are with what you've got, and you leave the rest to Krishna. The ultimate arbiter of everything is Krishna, and he knows what's in the core of your heart, which you may not be able to fully manifest at any time. But the endeavor is the thing. Always keep trying. And don't worry about whether it looks better than what somebody else is doing or not. Don't worry about that. Okay?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
I could tell another story right now, but we're over time. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Vanchakalpatrubhyascha kripasindobheva patitanam pavanebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhu. Thank
Krishna.
you.
Thank
Hare
you,
Krishna,
Prabhu.
Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you. We're attained of you having us in the island. And all the Vaishnava come to our island. Thank you so much for all the support.
That was a wonderful day. A wonderful day. Thank you for that. Hare Krishna.
I'll close the class now, Prabhu.
Thank
Hare
you,
Krishna.
Prabhu.
Thank you.